Mangwana ni Mwalelepo Fukenjani Klekwas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa. Good morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. Today we'll be joined by Mike Sichula as he delivers the Zambia report that will be shortly after the weather, which is after these top stories. Tunisian lawmakers sentenced after mocking president on social media. Tanzania bars public servants from using personal emails for official communication. South African farmers face crisis as foot and mouth spreads nationwide. DR Congo Central Bank to buy state-traded gold for reserves. DSTV 2 at 5, GoTV 25, OneUp2.com, Network Media Hub, and NTV Africa.my.na is where you can watch Africa. Good morning. My name is Ashwin Berry. Top stories shortly. Let's get straight into our top stories. A Tunisian court has handed lawmaker Ahmed Saidani an 8-month prison sentence over social media posts mocking President Kais Saied after recent deadly floods. Saidani was arrested earlier this month following posts about Saied's visit to flood-hit areas where he referred to the president as the supreme commander of sanitation and rainwater drainage. He was jailed on Thursday on charges of insulting others via communication networks, according to a judicial official. His lawyer, Hussein Eddin Ben Attia, told AFP that the case was pursued under a telecommunications law criminalizing harming others via social media, an offense carrying up to 2 years in prison. Human rights groups have criticized what they call an escalation of Saied's crackdown since he suspended parliament in 2021 and began ruling by decree. At least 5 people died after Tunisia's heaviest rainfall in over 70 years. Fellow MP Bilal Meshri questioned the arrest, citing parliamentary immunity protections. We move over to Tanzania, where the country has banned public civil servants from using email accounts for official government communication, directing them to rely strictly on approved state systems. Minister of State in the President's Office, Public Service Management and Good Governance, Ridhiwani Kikwete, described the continued use of personal networks as risky and unacceptable. Speaking while closing the 6th government network meeting in Arusha on February 19, he stressed that communications must pass through systems developed by local experts. He also condemned the transfer of staff already settled in designated offices to other workplaces after appointment. Now, Kikwete stated that any public servant facing disciplinary issues should be referred to established disciplinary committees for appropriate sanctions rather than being mistreated due to vulnerability. He added that all public servants joined on merit, whether through competitive examinations or appointments, and said that if each fulfills their duties, positive outcomes are unavoidable. Farmers in South Africa are battling with a foot and mouth disease outbreak that has spread across 8 of the country's 9 provinces over the past year. The outbreak, declared a national disaster, has devastated herds and prompted trading partners to halt imports of South African animal products. The virus, transmitted through direct contact or contaminated feed and water, causes painful blisters in animals and reduces milk yields. In KwaZulu-Natal, dairy farmer Carol Houston reported spending roughly $380 per cow on treatment after infection struck her herd of 2,200 cattle, cutting milk output from 14,000 litres per day to 9,000. Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen announced a 10-year strategy, including mass vaccination, with 1 million doses expected from Argentina. However, farmers fear delays could destroy small-scale operations. President Cyril Ramaphosa's disaster designation allows additional funds and faster vaccine acquisition to address the crisis. Now, lion DNA has been used for the first time globally to convict poachers following a 2024 incident in Hwange National Park, Zimbabwe. Authorities became suspicious when a radio collar on a male lion stopped transmitting. Investigators located a snare with lion fur and later recovered 3 sacks of meat, 16 claws and 4 teeth from suspects in a nearby village. Forensic testing matched DNA from the body parts to a blood sample previously taken from the collared lion, identified through Zimbabwe's lion database developed by the Victoria Falls Wildlife Trust. Within 10 days, the evidence was presented in court. 2 men pled guilty and received 24-month prison sentences. The lion's value was estimated at $20,000. Wildlife crime experts said the breakthrough allows identification of individual animals, overcoming past obstacles where possession of lion parts could be explained as traditional ornaments or natural deaths. And we end our top stories in Morocco, where a Moroccan court has sentenced 19 soccer fans to prison terms of up to 1 year following disorder during the Africa Cup of Nations final in Rabat. The group included 18 Senegalese nationals and 1 French citizen convicted of damaging sporting facilities and engaging in violence after supporters attempted to storm the field. 11 received 1-year sentences with a $550 fine. 4 were given 6 months at a $218 fine, while 4 were sentenced to 3 months with a $130 fine. The chaos followed protests over a late penalty awarded to host Morocco in a match Senegal won 1-0. Chairs were thrown onto the pitch and stewards clashed with supporters, causing more than $446,000 in damage. Senegalese players briefly walked off, and Senegalese and French diplomats attended the hearing, and lawyers said they would appeal the sentences. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. Shortly, we're going to be joined by Mike Sichula as he delivers the Zambia report. But prior to that, let's have a look at the weather. Back. All right, it's time for us to talk to Mr. Mike Sichula after some jovial chats here in studio. You must know in Africa Good Morning, even when the camera's not rolling, we try to make sure that we too have an Africa Good Morning with some light banter. Now, Mike Sichula, thank you for joining us. Buriwanji.
Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
Tiri bueno. Now, Mike, getting into your first story. Hichilema relieves health and SME ministers with 3 months to parliament dissolution. Tell us about this.
Yes, this is the information that has shocked the nation, because for the past almost 5 years of his administration, President Hakainde Hichilema has been reluctant to dismiss his cabinet ministers. So the two become, I think, 5 cabinet ministers that he has fired since he assumed office. Now, the gist of this matter is that under the Zambian constitution, the president is not entitled to explain as to why he has dismissed his cabinet ministers. So everything that is in public domain is about speculation. So the gentleman in the picture is Elias Mwanga, who was the Minister for Small and Medium Enterprises. It is a newly created ministry, so he was the first cabinet minister who is nominated to occupy that office. So nothing much is known about this ministry in terms of scandals here and there. But the man in the picture, Dr. Elijah Muchima, was the Minister of Health. And in this ministry, there were a lot of scandals that happened. So before him, there was Silva Masebo. So one of the scandals that happened in this ministry was that the government discovered about 60 containers carrying government medicine that were marooned at a private facility when hospitals and clinics did not have essential medicine. Now, these trucks were marooned there because of some disagreements between the government and the clearing agents. So the clearing agents could not release the trucks to government because they wanted to be paid. Now you can imagine in government hospitals there are no medicine, then these medicines have been marooned at the private facility. So instead of the President Hakainde Hichilema dismissing the minister, they ended up dismissing junior officers and they swapped. So Mr. Elijah Muchima took over and they swapped. Now, what has surprised people is that Mr. Muchima, who came into this Ministry of Health, which is so critical to Zambia because it receives a lot of donor funding, has been relieved of his duties on matters that people now are speculating. Could it be the reason that he has been dismissed, or there's something that personal that he did? So one of the things that people are speculating about is that him and Elias Mwanga are alleged to have voted for Bill 7, which was a sponsored bill by the governing party. But all these things we're talking about are speculations because President Hakainde Hichilema is not entitled to explain why he has dismissed his 2 cabinet ministers.
All right. Now, Mike, as we move on with Zambia's economy, the country has approved some strategic pipeline projects.
Yes, quite indeed, quite strategic and very important in terms of improving energy sufficiency in Zambia. So according to Chief Government Spokesperson, Mr. Cornelius Mwetwa, he says government has approved the construction of Tanzania-Zambia malt products pipeline and Namibia-Zambia refined petroleum and natural gas pipeline, projects which will be implemented via a public-private partnership agreement. We can have the video from the Minister of Information, Mr. Mwetwa, explaining the gist of this approval by Cabinet.
In order to provide Zambia with an alternative source of petroleum products to complement the existing Tazama pipeline, while helping to meet the country's growing demand for fuel and reduce the cost of petroleum products in the country. As the nation's population continues to grow and industries expand, the dependence on petroleum products for transportation and industry has grown significantly in years past. This reliance is expected to persist, with demand projected to reach about 3.7 million tons annually by 2030. The construction of these pipelines will therefore enhance security of supply, ensure stable petroleum products prices, and position Zambia as an emerging regional energy hub. Number 2, Zambia's bid for membership on the UN Human Rights Council 2027 to 2029. Cabinet approved Zambia's formal candidature to the United Nations Human Rights Council for the term 2027 to 2029 and also endorsed the accompanying campaign strategy and budget to secure election to the council.
So the minister there was clearly explained why these two pipelines are critical to Zambia's energy stability, because the population is growing and the fuel demand is increasing. So that is why the minister sees this as a crucial agreement and approval.
Thank you for that update, Mike. Now, in our next story, a suspect has been charged over the fatal bee attack in Lusaka's Helen Kaunda area.
Yes, so the incident happened on 2nd February 26, when bees attacked a 77-year-old woman within a neighborhood. So the issue here is that in this neighborhood, someone who is now in police custody was keeping bees. This is in a residential area. So they are keeping bees for honey production. So that picture is for illustration purposes. But they were keeping bees for bee honey production within a residential area. So the woman in the picture, she's the one that was one of the persons that were stung by the bees. And unfortunately for her, she succumbed to the injuries and died. Quite unfortunate there. Then there were other members of the public that were stung, but luckily for them, they managed to survive. So according to Zambian laws, no person is allowed to keep bees within a residential area. So this is why police have apprehended the owner of the property where these bees came from, and they have charged this person with one count of manslaughter and also an offense of keeping bees in a residential area without authorization from the local city council. It's a very sad story that people now are asking to say, but how did authorities not detect that someone was keeping bees for honey production within a residential area? The good part is that the suspect in this matter handed himself to authorities, and the authorities managed to arrest him, and they also got experts to go and remove the bees, because these bees were kind of like now beginning to move away from their place where they were kept to attack innocent citizens, even after they had attacked this woman who died from the bee attack.
All right, Mike, Copper Queens are back hoping to save Zambia football once again with a pre-WAFCON friendly against Senegal.
Yeah, but before I talk about that, yesterday it was the Zambezi Derby where during the COSAFA between Zambia and Zimbabwe, and for a fair result, that match ended in a scoreless draw, which is fair enough for you and myself, and for the region. Then coming to the Senegal friendly, which has been organized by the Football Association of Zambia in partnership with the Ministry of Sports. So the initial idea was that Zambia should have gone to camp in Dubai, but it looks like the Football Association of Zambia does not have logistics to cover that option, which the national team coach Nora was proposing. So instead, the Football Association of Zambia has sought guidance and support from the ministry, and now the Copper Queens will jet into Morocco earlier, considering that the WAFCON is starting in next month. So instead of going to Dubai, they will go into Morocco area, and one of the friendlies that has been clinched is the match against Senegal. As you all know, Senegal is one of the powerhouses of women football in Africa. So it is a good friendly. Then they are also hoping that if they go to Morocco early, then they can probably clinch another top-class nation to play as a friendly in them before the WAFCON itself kicks off. So it looks to be what the Football Association of Zambia has settled for, because camping in Dubai looked to have been more expensive for the association, which is grappling with a lot of debt. So that is what has come out. But Zambia now, at the WAFCON in South Africa, they need to beat Eswatini in order for them to progress beyond the group stage. As you all know, Zambia are the defending champions. But this WAFCON, this COSAFA, looks to be something that South Africa also wants to clinch, considering that they have brought to their team top class players for the COSAFA, which is not usually the case if you look at the past assembling of players for COSAFA tournaments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sichula, for delivering the Zambia report as only you know how.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to Arsenal for an emphatic 4-1 win over Tottenham. Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning and have a blessed week.
Wonderful, wonderful. You know what? I didn't want to bring it up, Mike. Thank you for that. No, it's feeling really good. I'll be very honest. I don't know if I wish you the same luck with Everton tonight. We'll see how it goes. But let's dive straight into our economic news stories. And we are in DR Congo, where the Banque Centrale du Congo has announced plans to purchase gold directly from DRC Gold Trading South Africa, a fully state-owned company aggregating output from artisanal and small-scale miners. The initiative aims to strengthen the Congolese franc, diversify reserve assets, and formalize the artisanal mining sector. Gold from provinces including Ituri and South Kivu will be channeled through the state trader and converted into official monetary reserves. Previously, most artisanal gold was sold to private traders, with significant volumes leaving through informal or illicit routes, limiting its contribution to reserves. And in the last of our economic news stories, between 2000 and 2024, China extended $66.1 billion in energy loans to African countries, financing oil production, power plants, transmission infrastructure, and renewable projects. According to the Global Development Policy Center, energy has been one of the largest sectors of Chinese lending, part of 1,319 loans worth $180.9 billion issued since 2000. Angola received the largest share at $27.3 billion across 41 loans, followed by South Africa with $4.5 billion and Sudan with $4.2 billion. Other major recipients include Ethiopia, Zambia, Uganda, Ghana, Equatorial Guinea, Kenya, and Cote d'Ivoire. Thank you for joining us on Africa Good Morning. As we leave you with the economic indicators, make sure you catch us tomorrow, DSTV 285, GoTV 25, 1up2.com, and Network Media Hub on YouTube, as well as ntvafrica.my.na. Tomorrow, we're joined by Talent Gore as she delivers the Zimbabwe report, but prior to that, it will be the top stories from broader Africa. From me, Ashim Bedi, and the Africa Good Morning team, Suraj Kanaka.